Welcome back to Cities in Motion. I'm Jacob, the podcast for anyone who wants cities built for people. Each week, we dig into the systems, design, and culture that shape urban life and explore how smarter transportation, better planning, and thoughtful policy can make our communities more livable. Today, I'm joined by Shane from Strong Towns Pflugerville. We talk about how their local Strong Towns conversation is working to reform the city's development code, slow down dangerous streets, expand transportation options, and push for more walkable, financially resilient growth. Let's get started. So, for listeners who aren't familiar, what is Strong Towns Pflugerville and what's your core mission locally?
So, Strong Towns Pflugerville, we're a local chapter of the National Strong Towns movement. We're not too big of a force. We're a small group of local residents who want to change the way development is happening so that it's more compatible with a healthy and resilient economy. And some core aspects of that we're trying to get done locally is we're trying to reform the development code. So the core mission of Strong Towns Pflugerville, we want to reform the development code so more diverse housing types can be built in the community, and which will help lower housing prices for everyone, help lower rents. It allows more people to become homeowners and build their equity. It also reforming the development code. There's so many aspects of the development code. Removing parking minimums will help save land and will encourage more walkable development, which is more financially productive for the city, which will give the city larger margins in their budgets. So there's less of a danger of defaulting on debt. And in the future, if there's less debt payments being made, city services can be improved with more tax revenue coming through from a better development. We also want to expand local transit options. Pflugerville is a transit desert, essentially.
Yeah, I drive there at least once a week and oh, there's a bus. I haven't seen that before. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely a
it's
very strody, lots of wide roads there.
Yeah. So in Pflugerville, we currently have the Fetch a Ride program, which is just Uber vouchers. And it's I think it's $40 a month, um, which is enough for about one work week if somebody wants to use it full time. So there is really no other alternative to driving in Pflugerville. So that's a big one that we really need to start
Like
putting a lot of.
expanding the bus lanes or making streets a little bit safer to walk, stuff like that.
Yeah, we want to see either we want to rejoin Cap Metro, but there has been a history of that not working out too well for Pflugerville, where it's a lot of pain, no gain, where we pay a lot of taxes into Cap Metro and we don't get many bus routes out of it.
Kind of like what's happening with Dart at the moment.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have already left Cap Metro. So what Strong Towns Pflugerville kind of sees as the path forward is to make our own local transit agency that would be specifically just for the Pflugerville city limits and destinations just outside of it, so that all the money that is going into it from taxes is invested directly into routes here.
Okay. What originally motivated you guys to get organized into a strong town conversation?
Well, for me, it was I went on a trip to Washington, D.C., and that was my first experience in a walkable place.
I've been there
And it was
also, it's great.
it's lovely. It was so liberating to be able to choose how you get around. If some place is too far to walk, I could just take the subway there. But we walked everywhere in DC. And coming back from that trip, I just felt trapped, like there was no way to get around other than with the car. So I started an Instagram account. I was really taking inspiration from the Chattanooga Urbanist Society.
Yeah.
I really like what they do out there. And so I started the Pflugerville Urbanist Society and started going around and just taking pictures and kind of doing a lot of internet advocacy. And our president, Logan, was actually at the same time as me doing the same thing, but on Facebook. And
Nice. It's
so
like the Spider-Man meme.
it was So we eventually discovered each other, and
Great.
around January of 2025, we merged everything, and we became a official Strong Towns chapter in February of 2025.
And what was that process like going from just like a social media account to actual Strong Town chapter?
It
You,
was
from my understanding, you fundraised a little bit to become a 501c.
That was really recent.
Okay.
So to be a Strong Towns chapter, you don't need to be an official like nonprofit or anything. You just need to be a collection of people. So Strong Towns has a very simple flow for how people can, if they're interested in the Strong Towns movement and starting a chapter, you only need a couple people who are interested and willing to dedicate a little bit of time to make it official. And so we did that, and we've been working on federal nonprofit recognition for the last year. We got a nonprofit recognition with the state
Okay.
really early on in February. The Strong Towns lays out a very nice rubric for how to start it up.
Now, when you've been attending like city council meetings, how's the response been to your propositions or the stuff that you've noticed about Pflugerville?
It's a mixed bag. In the most recent election, our new city council member, Jonathan Kaufman, is very he hasn't said deliberately he's pro Strong Towns, but a lot of his ideals are in the same vein.
That's great.
Um,
Okay.
and our new mayor, Doug Weiss, he is very he he appreciates smart growth. So he's not pro Strong Towns, but we do get along. And so a majority of our city council is kind of is accepting or is receptive of our ideas. They just haven't done any action on them yet.
Okay. Since you've been living in Pflugerville, what positive changes, negative changes have you seen develop?
I've been living in Pflugerville 10 years now, I think. Yeah, 10 years. So it has sprawled very far since then. So there's been so much development, and it just keeps going on. That's something that we need to change very quickly, is we can't keep sprawling. We need more infill development. We need more incremental development. But something that has been very good to see is that there is some recognition that there is a problem and that things need to change. Things haven't changed, but it's very clear that people know that a change is needed.
And organizations like you guys are great because city council, mayor, people, community members may not even know that, oh, we can actually build better. They don't know any other way except cars. Just like when we went to DC. Sorry, my cat is jumping on my lap. She wants to be in the camera. Just like when we went to DC, we were inspired like, wow, there's other choices besides just a car or just a 5-lane road.
Yeah.
And I think it's our job to make other people aware of that kind of other way of living.
Yes. Yeah. It's a lot of what we're doing is just informing and allowing people to just kind of see what's possible and make up their own mind about things.
I saw your technical urbanism project in the residential street. Tell me more about that.
Oh, okay. That was fun. So this neighborhood, the main street that runs next to this neighborhood gets backed up, like really backed up. So cars like to cut through the neighborhood and speed down this road to try and beat the traffic and cut up ahead, up in the front of the line. So what we did was we went out with some chalk and cones, and we weren't trying to stop people from cutting, we were trying to stop them from speeding through the neighborhood. So we put cones out, and we narrowed the lanes because that road had no lane markings. So we put in a center line with cones and chalk, and we narrowed the lanes. And we did it so that you would have to zigzag through it. You have to slow down. Format is called a chicane. So um, the cars would have to come in, and no matter which way you're coming, you have to slow down and turn through it. And it really helped solve the speeding problem. But that only lasted about 30 minutes before somebody had called the police, and we
Oh
had to
yeah.
pick up everything. So it was great to see that everybody uh, thought it was a good idea, but it's illegal. We can't do that.
Yeah, tell me about
So
that family that you were interviewing in your Instagram video.
I think that they had moved there recently, um, and they had two kids, I think. One, I think, was just about kindergarten age, 5 or 6, and the other one was still a little toddler. And they contacted us because they know their neighbors. That neighborhood has a good sense of community. So they know everybody on their street. And they knew that there's a lot of kids on the street. So having the speeding cars is just something that we can't have. And so they have been trying to get the city to do something about narrowing the road or adding some kind of traffic calming. And they gave up with the city and contacted us to come
Wow.
out and try something. And we did it. And after we took everything down, the police said to us, like, what you're doing does work. It's called a choke point, but it's not allowed because choke points slow down emergency response times too. And so what they consoled us by saying that they would have somebody sit at the corner with a speed gun and just get people to stop speeding that way. And that never really happened.
Well, I thought it was really cool, and I'm glad you got some publicity, if you want to call it that, from the
Yeah.
police in the city. I also saw like a lot of just negative comments on that post.
Yeah.
Like, how do you interact with people like that?
The way I deal with that, it's the on Instagram, there's no dislike button. So essentially the
Mm,
comments are the dislike button. There were a lot of negative responses because we were being the Karens of the neighborhood. Like that's kind of the consensus. But it's it is up to neighborhood individuals to take action. So it is I it's something the car culture. It's if any kind of infringement on my right to speed is an infringement on that car culture.
it's called car brain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it just seems like so many people still don't get that that's
Yeah.
just not
I
okay.
I was reading some of those comments and I'm like, do these people have kids themselves? Like, do they have their own kids? Do they have nephews, nieces? Like, do they watch out for any of these young kids? Would they want
Yeah.
someone speeding down their own street? I had to like close the app for a little bit because it made me kind of upset.
Yeah, it's definitely those are the kinds of people that definitely need that groups that Strong Towns groups and other urbanist groups need to be kind of out doing outreach to and informing those people of the alternatives because the Strong Towns isn't against cars. It's
Yeah, of
just
course.
against the dangers of cars for both like safety issues and the economic dangers of using only cars.
I think Kelly Blue Book says it cost about ten or $11,000 just to own and operate a car. Even if it's paid off. My car's paid off, and I'm probably putting that much into my car just to maintain it. There's this really great trail across the street next to West Pecan Avenue, I believe, at Pfluger Park, and
Yeah,
I mean that
yeah.
path is super convenient. It's like 5 miles, and I just wish it would be more connected.
Yeah,
Paths
that's
like
something.
that, yeah.
Yeah, that's something that we're trying to figure out a way to change because Pflugerville is legally the trail capital of Texas. It's
Oh,
they got it passed in the state legislature that we are designated that. But all these trails, they don't actually connect anything. They're just recreational.
they
So
connect subdivisions, yeah.
yeah, so it's something needs to change about the language in the development of the codes for these trails to make it so that they actually connect to destinations and places because they really just connect houses to parks
Yeah.
and that's it. They really need to connect schools and businesses and workplaces and transit options. They need to do more than just be recreational.
It would be so cool to see a bike bus. As far as I'm aware, there's not one in Flickerville, but it would be super cool to see one of those happening.
Yeah, there is not one in Pflugerville. There is one in Austin. I'm
Yeah.
so jealous. But getting a bike bus started is on the list of things. It's on the to-do list
Oh,
for
great.
Strong Towns.
Yeah. What else is on the to-do list?
So the to-do list right now, internal operations, like getting our federal C3 status is a big one. That's the one we're doing right now. We also, the city is doing a code update right now.
I saw
So
that. Yeah.
they they're going through the Unified Development Code, and that is the thing that has parking minimums and zoning types and all the form codes. It's just the blueprint for any new development in the city. And so the comments, the public comment sessions with Strong Towns Ideas is something that we are trying very hard to do. Because this kind of an update doesn't happen very often. It
Yeah.
happens every 5 to 10 years. And so if we don't get a lot of this stuff done now, it's going to be way in the future, and a lot of irreparable development will occur in those 5 to 10 years.
It's only gonna get worse and worse. The
Yeah,
people who vote on it now are not gonna have to deal with it uh
yeah,
when it's gonna be a problem.
yeah. So that is the big one. Uh, the other things that we're working on the to-do list, not that we're necessarily working on it
Yeah.
right now, is there is a city in Tennessee, it's Jackson, Tennessee, and they have a really interesting tactical urbanism program where any citizen can fill out a form. It's just one-page form, and they just need to state the idea and they need to say where it's going to be. Um, and as long as it isn't on a major road, the project is almost guaranteed to be approved. And so taking that idea of just a simple form that anyone in the city can fill out and be able to do a tactical urbanism project legally would be game changing, and allowing anybody in the city to do these small changes that make it a safer and nicer place.
What is the difference between a legal tactical urbanism project and a legal one? I
Would
guess why was your project considered illegal? Because it was, yeah.
We didn't get approval to do it. We just went
Okay.
ahead and did it.
Okay.
So we didn't notify anybody. We just went and did this. I'm sure if we contacted the police department and said, "Hey, can we do this?" They would have said, they would have given us a list of things of do's and don'ts for something like that, and we would have been able to do it. But we didn't. We just went and did it. We didn't wait for approval.
Okay.
So that's why. So, but a legal one would be, we want it to not only be legal, but allow these changes to be permanent. So, setting up a permitting process to give these projects legal grounds to just be a permanent fix or a permanent,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
If you were to just make one road project happen, what would it be? What's your priority?
mm,
There's too many?
there's so many.
Okay.
Pflugerville has a lot of rough roads. The two big ones would be 685 and Pecan Street. 685 is a 5 lane strode, and it goes essentially from Pflugerville. It makes it all the way to Austin. It just keeps going forever and ever. And what should happen, there needs to be the lanes are huge, and there's a lot of uncontrolled driveways onto it, so it just adds a lot of conflict points. So updating the road so all the intersections are controlled would make it way safer because people wouldn't be pulling out into the road without looking, which happens quite a bit. There's quite frequent crashes on 685. But with 685, actually, recently they voted to reduce the speed limit on the street. So I think it
Oh,
went
cool.
from, yeah, I think it was 50. It might have been 55, but it's now 45.
That's better. Yeah.
It's better, but it's a step in the right direction. But it does proves that they they want to make a change. They just don't know how to do it right. Because changing a sign doesn't get anybody to change their behavior.
No, it's like, please slow down. People are not gonna they're
Yeah,
gonna go as fast as they want.
yeah. So a way to that they could have actually fixed the speeding problem is to go in and repaint the lanes and make the lanes smaller. And that would have been fairly cheap as just the paint and the labor costs. But instead they took the easy way out and they just changed the signs to say they did something instead of truly addressing the root of the
Yeah,
problem.
it's the infrastructure of the road that's encouraging speeding, not the signs telling them, hey, go this fast, pretty please.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that road is not great. I drive it on my way to church, and it feels like a highway. It feels like an
Yeah.
access road
Yeah.
because it's built like one, and I would not ever want to cross it because it's just 5 lanes of super wide asphalt.
Yeah. And there
What?
aren't even crosswalks that often. Yeah,
Yeah.
pedestrians are an afterthought on 685.
How would you imagine Pflugerville in 10 years with the way you want things to go?
In 10 years, I would hope I would see Pflugerville still being a very suburb looking place. It would still be very full of single family homes. But in 10 years, I would hope that there is a lot of duplex and triplex conversions going on in a lot of these homes, and there is kind of an urban growth boundary instated so that sprawl stops and all new development is occurring where there's already infrastructure. So more infill development. So in 10 years, it would still be a very similar place to today, similar in appearance, but in terms of function, it would be different with different housing types slowly popping up in the mix.
And that's if the town embraced more strong town principles.
Yeah, on a city timescale, 10 years isn't a crazy amount of time. If they embraced Strong Towns principles 10 years from now, visually, it's going to look essentially the same, but the functions will be vastly different. In 50 to 100 years, it would be a wildly different place if they embrace Strong Towns principles and do a lot more of the incremental development because incremental development really shines on a generational timescale where someone will buy a tiny little starter home when they're fresh out of grad school in their late 20s, ideally. And they buy their first house, a little starter home. And over the course of their whole life, they would be able to upgrade and change their house and make these modifications to best fit their family and what their life looks like. So on a 10-year time scale, 10 years from now, it wouldn't be radically different. But on a generational time scale, it really would shine through these principles would really come to fruition.
Okay. What can a citizen of Pflugerville do if they want to make Pflugerville better to live in?
The simplest thing anyone can do is show up to a city council meeting and speak at public comment because no one does that. It's remarkable how few people participate in government. It's really easy to get to know your politicians and representatives because nobody is clamoring to reach them. It's really easy. Like I have met most of the city council. It's not hard to get in contact and set up meetings with them. So easiest thing, the simplest thing to do to make change, any change, is to show up and make your voice heard. Getting involved with Strong Towns Pflugerville is another one,
Nudge,
or any
nudge, wink, wink.
any local like grassroots kind of a organization because any group of people is going to have a bigger effect than one individual.
Do you guys have any meetups coming up soon where people can come out and meet Strong Towns Pflugerville?
Yes, on January 10th, we're gonna have our Gilliland Creek cleanup that we adopted that section of the Gilliland Creek, and we go out there every 3 months and do a trash cleanup with the community. That's the first one. And on January 17th, we have a general meeting where we're going to be really diving into how everybody can best get changes done to the code that's being updated right now. And we're also going to start just kind of doing general education on Strong Towns principles. We're partnering with the Pecan Street Collective, which is the first Saturday of every month, usually. Sometimes there's some variations in that. But we host free bike parking And so we set up and we just kind of sit there and people can come and go. And all of there's way more information about all these events on the website and on our Instagram. So
Yeah, I was about to ask where can people find you, but there it is. Instagram, website. So, yeah, thanks so much for showing up. I really enjoyed this
yeah,
conversation and I hope to hear more about you guys.
yeah, thanks for having me.
That was my conversation with Shane from Strong Towns Pflugerville. If you're in the area, check the show notes for their upcoming creek cleanup, their January general meeting, and ways to get involved in the city's development code update. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with a friend, following the show, or leaving a comment. Thanks for listening.